What do you mean starting download? Where would you download you? Oh my gosh. Right, okay. What's my resolution? Boy, I'm glad I launched the configuration tool. What is my resolution? I first have to look this up because I don't actually remember. What is my screen resolution? Wow. I almost spelled that correctly. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of these mean. Sure. Oh, right. Change the... We have life. We have a black screen. I hear music? No, we see something. Okay. Please somebody tell me that is not a glitch. If my bloody thing is upside down or something. Intention. I like inversely mirrored. No, that's definitely very wrong. No, it's just supposed to look like that. Cool. I guess it's for people who can read upside down. In a bizarre mirror world. Oh my goodness gracious, that is so laggy, what? Hold on, one of my resources. It's maxed out my CPU, what? We start with an intro scroll that's upside down, intentionally or otherwise. And then we have a loading screen that consumes all my computing resources when, may I just point out, this game is like old, okay? This is an old game. Why is it so loud? I can't hear myself think. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. 60 FPS per minute, please, spare me. Oh no. Like, I know that OBS also takes up a lot of computing resources as well, but like, that's mostly graphics card. Is this being like emulated or something? Oh my god, it's totally the fault of like... isn't it? Whatever. I totally forgot to do my intro thing, didn't I? This is great. This is so great. We start off amazing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to me being dragged back into this torturous existence that is playing the Legend of Heroes series. Because I'm just not allowed to take a break. There shall be no mercy, no respite. There's only bloody Legend of Heroes for the end of my days. Just why? Legend of Heroes 3rd. Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky 3rd, because of course there's loads of different Legend of Heroes sub-series as well. Ugh. The Trails games plus and whatever. I don't know, man. I was bullied into playing this, to be honest. I don't know if it was even on sale. I don't know. I just like... I just had a nervous breakdown and decided to pick it up. Let's see if I regret that particularly. Oh, here's another question actually. Does my controller work? It does, thank goodness. Does my controller work with the A button? It does. Thanks for that. Yeah! Woohoo! It got my save data. I was very nervous. I was very nervous. Good grief. 88 hours. Wait, that was the rear end of 24 and we're the first third of 26. Wow, it's been over a year. Please don't be lagging the game. What happened when we left off? We destroyed a floating city that was going to blow up everything? Year 12 of the year, the Septian calendar fall. Just over half a year since the Liber Arc's collapse. Racing through the night sky aboard the cruising province in Erebania. Oh god, I've forgotten the place and stuff. It was the Rheinford Company's latest display in luxury. The Lustiana. Wow. Lusitania? Probably Lusitania. Lusitania. Yeah, no, it's not Lusty. Lusitania. Wow, that something looks proper posh. Yes. Imagine what technological advancement looks like in this setting after a few more years. Okay. Remake's not terrible. We'll call this playable. Legend of Heroes. Yes. Trails in the Sky the 3rd. A game so good they made it 3 times.
If I may have your attention, please. On behalf of the Conrad Company, I'd like to take time to thank you all for attending this party today. As I'm sure you're all aware, it's a most auspicious day. Yes, indeed. On this historic day 10 years ago, this fine company...
Well, who are these masked strangers who I definitely don't recognize? You don't seem to be enjoying this quite as much as he is. You ought to at least try and feign interest in what he's saying. Surely you must understand what kind of man he is if you're up here. So if this is the guy I think he is, then the accent I gave him last time was a little bit cowboy. The grey hair, annoying smile, and gay little earrings kind of make me think it's all that. So I'll give him Oh, we're off to a great start. This is the last kind of place I'd expect to see this guy as well. That's the worst part. Like, what is bro doing here? Was he even invited? I don't think he was invited. If I remember, it was a kind of American accent. It was a little bit more masculine. Well, I gave an American accent. Well, Augie. No, I didn't give him that deep an American hair. Well, I gave him a strong American hair. Oh goodness, I can't remember. I mean, I couldn't even remember it between the individual streams last time, so can you honestly expect me to remember this now? Oh dear. Let's try and make him a little more suave because he's in disguise, you know? Oh man, I can actually feel like my vocal cords shift as I try to do a man's accent, American accent. Like I feel like I got a weird frog in my throat when I do it. It's so weird. Oh, sorry, I'm staring off into the bloody ceiling as if it's the most interesting thing in the world. Trust me, this is interesting.
Oh, that I do. He's a merchant of death and made a fortune during the 100 Years' War. One of the Emperor's most wealthy men, despite being a relative newcomer. Well, it was only a few years ago that he partnered up with the famous Rhinefoot group, and now he's serving on the board of directors. The record makes for a most impressive read, that much is certain. Well, I dare say he's less impressive in person compared to on paper.
My. Best refrain from making such remarks. The mask of yours may disguise your identity. It won't keep those naughty men in black away should you make any of them.
Now that's a terrifying prospect. I can imagine that'd last very long if I did. I'd surely be cast through this window as easily as a pebble plunges through water.
I must say, I find you rather intriguing. A bit of the press, perhaps, or maybe even a government official. I would answer,
what's the fun in spilling secrets? I'll leave the pondering to your fertile imagination, mademoiselle. Leaving my identity aside, however, this ship is an impressive work of art. Hard to believe we're inside one at all, and here we are, thousands of barge in the air.
Well, this is Rhinefoot's latest model. I would expect nothing less than that. Last I heard, they were advertising it as the largest airship in the world.
It is 120 arch across, so they're probably right. As far as most of the world knows.
You suddenly know how to make a lady curious. Even with the mask, it's no secret you're so young. Practically still a boy. I wonder, how often do you go around charming your way through these drab parties with that aura of mystique?
Well, these masks can't hide all my secrets. I've sought to make my daring escape before I give away anything more about myself.
If you must, it would be a pleasure to continue keeping you company. It's not every day that one gets to enjoy chatting a night away with a mysterious stranger like this, you know. You could even take our chat somewhere more comfortable, like your room.
I would be honest. I don't know if you can promise the goddess her eyes turned away and may blush if she's watching. Meanwhile, I'll refrain from asking why a room would not be an acceptable location.
And I'll thank you for not forcing me to bring up that oaf of a man.
Well, party's in full swing now. As good as any. Private rooms on the highest floor of the ship and on the other side of the deck. Hey, let's get to work.
Now, unfortunately, this is a very annoying game because you kind of have to talk to every single NPC, turn over every stone, and revisit every area after every single minor plot event has happened. You know, an old JRPG. It's a living, breathing world. Yeah, unfortunately. I reckon we may have made a lot of progress in the past 10 years. It was all thanks to the Rhinefoot group. They couldn't have done a thing by themselves. Prior to acting. You'll realise that. Lady Linda is currently resting in her room. But she's feeling a little unwell in the room. I should choose a post like this to feel unwell. If she isn't faking to stay in her room. Well, I hope you're well. Yes, I am feeling alright. Excited to play more games. I haven't played this one before, but I love the series. I've only ever played the first two, so... well, that should tell you enough about how I feel about the series in that regard. Never played the Cold Steel arc. Ooh. I think the Cold Steel arc comes after these, so I'll have to withhold my judgment on them. Although, aren't they like 3D? That could be... I'm not saying these games like agonizingly full of stuff. And I mean that with all praise. I held all the party comrade. There are many who are wealthy enough to be able to organize a gathering like this in the sky. Oh, absolutely. And my guests are satisfied now, I've done my job. Not today's parties, but a minor diversion compared to what the future holds for us. I'm Marky Ballot, known for his extravagant spending. This guy's been a one big jeweler, Chorus and Company. Keep our phone occupied for a while. Yeah, rhyme for this, rhyme for that. We all know about rhyme for... Although I'm not yet to 100%, I haven't touched one since I finished Cold Steel 4. Oh my god, there's another 4 games at least in the series. Ah! Yeah, I wouldn't particularly like to 100% series. I mean, look, I like a solid 80% in the first game and a solid 85 in the second. Maybe. My god, it was agonizing. It was tiresome. It was fun. I loved doing it, but also I never wanted it. I don't have the attention span. There is always a trophy to collect all the chests and always miss one without fail. Oh my god, true. Always and Avalon Creek. Strange. Like someone's watching me for a minute. Check it out. Grab rooms on the highest floor of the ship on the other side of it. So you did get an invitation. Sly little man. Yeah, I forgot that there's also like second button press dialogue as well. Oh my goodness. Let's break it into the library. Yeah. You could use orbs all of a sudden along the southern edge of Erebor, yeah. Trains and international flights in that region as we still don't handle it. Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh. Bookshelf contains chapters of Carnelia. Not this bloody series again. Is it possible to turn pages back? I feel like reading an entire book series. It's gonna be at least like 70 pages, maybe up to 100. Or I'm just not progressing the game and reading it. That's why we're here. That's why we watch someone play The Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky, 3rd. Because you want to just sit around and have people talk to you. And I'm sounding really cynical. I'm sorry, I kind of woke up today and I was like, I don't want to do anything too hard. I want to have a nice, lazy and easy day. And then I decided to boot up a really intense RPG. Oh me, oh my. I seem to have been raided by 2 people. Hello, welcome. Glad to see that I actually managed to get the bloody raids working after last time. Embarrassing, but hello, welcome. That said, I can't have a cookie. Oh no. What do we do? Do I give you a cookie anyway? Red, hello, that one. Hello, Jack Rabbit. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness. I was like, do I want to skim read this? But on the first page you already got like a full outfit description of the character. Whenever I see things like this, I'm always reminded of like My Immortal. You know, where she's describing her boutique fashion. Cornelia the Imperial Chronicle. I stood there, upright in front of the revolving door, scuffing the heels of my boots against the ground. Pulling slightly on the collar of my trench coat, I dropped my chin and gazed at the partial reflection of glass. Aside from my short-cropped hair, I wore a modest-looking, double-breasted leather raincoat, a pair of special steel-reinforced boots, both of which at first glance appeared to be as common of common apparel. This could have been an email. So true. Excuse you. This entire expositionary segment could have been summarized like, was it 20 words off your? What's the One Punch Man quote? Oh man, One Punch Man is all the way over there, and I'm here. I can't reference it. Trust me, I'm being funny. Laugh. Yes, they were, in fact. Much more than the naked eye could detect. My ordinary average appearance, it was of just as much importance today as it had been on any other day in times past. Not far off, the sound of footfalls echoed rhythmically, like the steady beat of a pendulum swinging back and forth, as the throngs of those coming and going moved quickly along the cobblestone avenue, enveloped and tinged silver by the morning. At times, the calling voice of a street peddler disrupted the steady flow, but as soon as the hawking cry faded, resumed its Oh god, thank you. Among that enemy hair, there's half of my name with purple season of pictures that look at me. My Immortal is one of the greatest pieces of literary media ever created. Actually, I totally look like Ebony in real life. You just gotta believe me. Let's ignore the YouTube avatar. That's just like a whatever. I'm actually a super cool cover. Great. Now I'm giggling. You got me into a giggling fit. How am I supposed to play the game when you're making me laugh? This is serious. We are serious streaming. Serious. Dead serious. Hello, fellow British. Hello. Hello, Gunnar. Stick with me. Oh. The greatest piece of work. I should have it like printed out and like stuck on the wall like scripture or something so that I can quote it. I need to study it. I think that would actually raise an awful lot of questions if one came into my room. Why would you ever laugh at my Morgan? The most influential piece of literature ever written. You're so right. I'm sorry. I'm disrespecting it. I'm so ashamed of myself. Are we serious? I feel we're very unserious and we shouldn't give the world Doctor Who. Well, no, Doctor Who is also serious business. Very serious. Bruce. Man, I watched like 3 full seasons of Doctor Who, like 3 full Doctors worth of Doctor Who, and I'm stumped trying to think of it like a silly quote. Even though it's like, you know, you can't just like hit them with the whole wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff out the blue, because that just makes you sound like a small child. You gotta pick the right quote, but you've also got to make it clear that it's a Doctor Who quote, so it doesn't just. God, what am I even saying? Am I overheating? I put on the jumper because I was too cold and now I'm too hot. And I know if I take this something too cold, I'm going to feel like I'm a lizard flicking between this heat lamp and not. Where's my cold rock? I need my cold rock. I bet there's nothing like Ebony Darkness in the Dimension Raven. Don't forget Raven. Was it Raven Way? Or was it just Way? Actually, oh no, now I'm misquoting. I'm misquoting it again. Oh, don't look at me. Gah. Each morning I found myself setting foot in the Imperial City. I also found my surroundings to be unchanged, stained by the same somber tone of grey. American. Snatching up a magazine from the underarm of a street vendor, I tossed a few mirror into the left hand poised expectantly behind his back. The Imperial Chronicle, the magazine I read so often that even the ink bleeds are familiar. Roughly flipping open its cover, I scanned the headlines along the top of its monochrome pages. Then suddenly, my breath was caught in my throat. At the very bottom of the local news page, I found those letters, that sequence of characters which I had not heard nor seen since the time of that life-changing instant. My eyes instantly gravitated to the spot, and for a time remained fixated. Einzelnate. Can I say? Einzelnate. The very meaning of those letters became lost to my senses as I stood motionless, my gaze fixed on the same line of text, until it all seemed to coalesce into a single blotch of ink. After a few seconds of blank comprehension, my vision settled and I wrenched my eyes to the beginning of the article. As I began to read, my memories verged on a single point in my past, and then slowly started to run reverse, heading for that fateful event 3 years prior, when this name was first introduced to me. It was on an afternoon all those years ago, on a day not unlike this one, where the capital was overshadowed by its typical gloomy aura. I was a little younger than now, a 22-year-old boy who stood silently in front of the boutique door as usual, double-checking his appearance before lightly treading over to Mitch's Imperial Factory. It was on this day that it had been arranged for me to receive a new job from Mitch, the shop owner himself. Although he was a drab middle-aged man, I, being the augment enthusiast I was, found myself as one of his few regular customers. I headed down a dank alleyway, and after passing through a partially rotted wooden gate, I could see the soft glow of the flickering orbital light just outside the entrance of the factory, whose structure was halfway below street level. I first began receiving jobs from Mitch about the same time when dissension began to occur in society over the 100 Days' War. It was during this period that relations between the Libel Kingdom and the Empire were at their lowest, and the proportion of immigrants had become almost non-existent, inspiring the underground elements and planning a smuggling operation. Mitch made me out to be his accomplice in crime, but the job which I received by his hand was none other than that of the courier. Being nothing more than a commoner in my teens at the time, I met him in a juvie devoid of any connections in life besides. No, I read that really wrong. What is this punctuation? Being nothing more than a commoner in my teens at the time, I met him, and a juvie devoid of any connections in life besides, I naturally jumped at the opportunity without a moment's hesitation. Yet, even after relations with Libel had returned to some degree of normalcy, I realised I was in no mood to give up on my speciality, focused mainly on the delivery of stolen goods. The reason being, there was no job out there which could bring in the kind of mirror this one. It's so funny to me that I used the term mirror when someone would use the term money. But they also use the term mirror when they use the term, like, dollar. There's no job out there which could bring the kind of dollar this one. Doesn't really read sensibly, does it? Boy, I sure hope someone got fired for that one. With an unrefined and inconspicuous appearance, I'd countless times before hidden items of various sorts in my hat and trousers, and made my way hither and thither between the borders of these. And though to my delight my wallets had become increasingly laden with a bounty of monetary rewards, I routinely changed my alias as a precautionary measure. So much, in fact, these false names had built up into quite a list over the last few years. I had been known as Phil, the frivolous, Rooney, the trickster, even Chris, the coward. However, Richard always called me by one name, Toby. This was the one identity I'd used for my initial job, and one I liked above all others. Hello there, Toby. You've come at just the right time. Greeting me with these words, Bitch shuffled slightly in his seat behind the counter. The baked convection he'd been eating was ever so carefully placed atop his lap to prevent it from falling on the floor. He smacked both of his powder sugar-covered hands together with a clap, and a cloud of white particles puffed into the air. The smell of sweet spices and baked apple pervaded the dimly lit shop. With an item dropped off no more than a few minutes ago, he continued. Standing in his seat, Richard reached back and snatched something wrapped in old magazine paper from off the shelf, tossing it to me. Knowing full well I wouldn't get any sort of answer, I asked anyway. What do we have this time? I got my railway and airship tickets. Bitch ignored the question and said, Make sure this gets to the same place as always. In a slow drawl he added, It would be in your best interest to keep your involvement to a minimum by leaving the business side of things to me, focusing solely on getting the job done too. He leaned back in his chair and let out a deep sigh. The balls of his fingers kneaded the bags under his eyes. And once again, his large hand extended down to an unattended cake resting. Before the sweet treat could have reached his watering mouth, I'd already made my way out the door of his tiny shop. As I walked, the waste paper bundled package bounced around in the folds of my bag. By the feel of its shape and weight as it beat steadily against my side, I concluded that the object in my possession was probably just more swag. It didn't make me nervous not to know what it was that I was carrying, for I'd done this type of job many times before. No matter what kind of trouble I found myself wrapped in, I always somehow managed to come out unscathed. In truth, my experience on the job had made me tough. I'd become well versed in the art of orbal magic. So it was that when I laid eyes on the rough-looking trio at the station, I felt no more knots of uneasiness in the pit of my stomach than was necessary for some of my abilities. The platform for the train bound for Libel. I never know how to pronounce it. For Liberal. Libel was a bustle with passengers awaiting its eventual arrival. Sitting at the benches were so crammed full of people they could have very well been a tin of packed sardines. I resigned myself to standing at the entrance as I patiently waited for the train to come in. Twisting my body in order to move the bag to my other shoulder, I noticed the figures of two men. Heads bent together and conversing in an audible tone, they stood just beyond the ticket gate, right about where the horse head of the Imperial emblem lay embedded in the ground in a grand mosaic of tiles. After a short interim, another man approached and joined in the conversation. From my own perspective, this is one ranks out the group I most certainly could have given a passing grade to based on looks. All three were extremely well built and sported the same haircut. To put it mildly, they stuck out in the crowd like a bunch of sore thumbs. Making sure to avoid eye contact with them as they glanced in my direction, I set my bag back onto my shoulder, and ever so calmly reached my hand into my pocket and ran the tips of my fingers across the surface of my ornament. A woman's voice reverberated in the walls of the station, notifying the passengers that the train had arrived. The low rumble of an orbital engine could be felt in the distance, and after a few moments, a large vehicle was seen rolling up on the shoulder. I muttered to myself, well, but the sound of my voice was drowned out by the din of the massive machine. Brakes screeched, and a flash of black light reflected off the surface of the giant iron beast as it came sliding in across the rails. This vibration in the air emanating from the moving locomotive at its epicenter lets me know that the orbital engine had been put into full reverse in order to decelerate and bring the train to a grinding halt. While being shoved to and from by the waves of impatient travellers flooding out of the waiting area, I was swept toward one door of a passenger car. As we passed by the conductor, I caught another glimpse of the ticket gate. The men who were once there were now gone, and the only thing that remained was the profile of a horse made of glossy tiles, glaring back at me with shaded deep. I don't remember there being trains in this game before. Is that a new development, or is it like suddenly got phased out when airships became a thing? No, but they said the Empire. We weren't playing in the Empire before, were we? But then the Empire did have more advanced orbital tech, frankly. Again, it's been like years. What am I gonna know? Anyone know? Oh god, it's chainmail. You mind? This can wait, surely. So for a story called Carnelia, I'm not seeing much anything that I would call Carnelia. Is Carnelia like a name or colour or what? Read more to find out, huh? Represented the Septian Church. The train barreled on, almost flying through the thick veil of fog. Droplets of water splattered against the window, extending out like transparent veins, and continued to wriggle back and forth under the pressure of the swiftly passing wind. Placing the temple of my back against the glass, I stared blankly down the tickets in my hand and rubbed the two of them together between my fingers. I'd be travelling by train to the border city, far south of its imperial cousin, and to reach the Libel Kingdom I'd transferred to an airship. Both of my tickets were first class, not the highest end seats available. The passenger car was nearly at full capacity, but for some reason, nobody had seated themselves in the space next to mine. As I mused about the empty seat, it occurred to me that Mitch may have purchased the spot ahead of time, leaving it vacant on purpose. There was no doubt in my mind that he was being paid handsomely to make sure the job was done and done well. We'll be travelling to the Libel Kingdom, sir. Oh no, it's Eleanor's voice. We'll be travelling to the Libel Kingdom, sir. Right around the time my trip on the rails had passed the halfway mark, I was met with this sudden question, and set up at the start. My eyes searched for the one who asked it. There, standing in the aisle. An American spelling? I think it is. Was a single woman with a radiant complexion, beaming down at me. She wore a coat with overlapping buckles, secured slightly above her breast, and appeared to be in her mid-30s. Gingerly bending her knees and pointing her finger at the exit beside me, she asked, "Do you mind?" With a tip of her head, she indicated the rear of the passenger car where swirling smoke saturated the air and softly muttered, "The smell from tobacco smoke is dreadful." Wordlessly, I nodded and dragged my bag from its place onto the floor, moving it over by the window to the opposite side of my feet. The woman expressed her thanks and delicately sat herself down in the seat next to mine. For being a perfect stranger, she talked on endlessly, and I appropriately reciprocated the conversation by saying that I was on my way to the Libel Kingdom, business as an ordnance specialist. Her story was she was on a mission of mercy for the church and had an errand to fill in the border city. So you know, people sometimes refer to me as sister, he went on. Of course, it's just a nickname. She recrossed her black leather blue clad legs and let out a sort of suppressed titter on the back of her throat as she made mention of it. Sister Carnelia was her nickname. Name drop. We continued on this fashion, subjecting ourselves to a variety of idle banter. And as the time drew on, the sun overhead began to dip in its arc, crossing the celestial meridian and descending into the wind. Each time the moving train cleared a grove of trees, the entire vehicle, patches of carts and all, was bathed in a warm apricot hue, flooding into the cabins, creating a majestic spectacle. He came to the coruscating effect, and doing so locked out his sister Carnelia right at the moment the brilliance of the sinking western light seeped into her rich brown irises, causing him to give off an exquisite iridescent sparkle. The glimpse made me wonder if the origin of her nickname was somehow related to the colour of her eyes, being likened unto the luster of polished carnelian stone. This is really sappy. The train gradually began to decelerate, and Sister Carnelia returned to her original seat in order to collect her bags. As a matter of habit, I checked my bag and ornament and found both the junk, paper-covered package and a medical device fastened in my trousers in a pocket by a series of chain stitches, exactly where and how I'd left it. A woman's voice came over the intercom system, announcing the train would be arriving on schedule and that rainy weather was to be expected at our destination. At the conclusion of the announcement, a number of disappointed sighs could be heard coming from along the rows of seats. Raindrops pattered against the windows aside the silhouette of the overcast city came into view. The station's signal lamp emitted an angular light, which was scattered with refractive effect by the falling droplets of water. Then came a spine-chilling metallic sound, followed by the jolt of the orbital engines reversing thrust as the locomotive at the front of the train. Over the loudspeaker came another announcement, asking passengers to ensure they did not leave their baggage behind. And with that, several people stood up and crowded into the aisle. Wait, no. Are you seriously telling me that that's a typo? The first time they spoke to aisle like it was an island. But this time they've written aisle as if it's like the corridor of a train. The first time it should have been the corridor of a train as well. They missed the A. Wow. I'm not even an hour into this game and I've already found a typo. Boy, I sure hope someone gets fired for that blunder. What a shame. What a genuine shame. I thought this was going to be a good game, but I can tell it's going to be total trash. Wow. Damn. Disappointing. Watching a station worker in uniform as he waved a small flag amidst the falling rain, I picked up my bag and rose to my feet. I was past Sister Carnina as I attempted to step in the aisle. When she tried to step aside and allow me to pass, she suddenly tripped and fell forward. Grabbing onto my shoulder for support, she picked herself up and, with a smile, let me by. I gave her a short bow in line with general etiquette practices and headed to the exit ahead of her. That was almost a sneeze. It was almost going to be a sneeze, but it wasn't a sneeze. So I just kind of stopped for nothing. Great. My knee so close to mine felt she would step on my heel. Something about it just didn't feel right. Instinctively sliding my right hand in my pocket, I searched my ornament, but the brass thing I had grown accustomed to was nowhere to be felt. In an instant, I felt my arm being twisted behind my back by someone or something with incredible strength. The sleek sound of a blade being unsheathed and a warning prick at the tip of my back indicated the seriousness of the situation. I have what you're looking for, Toby, whispered Sister Cunning in almost an inaudible tone, her lips barely moving just behind my right ear. Let's not try anything either, shall we? You'd see your afternoon spoiled any more than there's going to be. And to show that she meant business, Sister Cunning slightly altered the angle of her grip on my wrist. There was an explosion of agony as sparks flashing. Ooh, drama. Sister Cunning spoke to me. Chapter 4, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, chapter 4. Here we are. I don't know short-term memory issues. What are you talking about? Sister Cornelia spoke to me in a tender tone as she sent a wave of immense pain rushing through the whole of my right hand. I won't have any trouble with you, now will I, Toby? She asked. Apart from eyes just brimming with tears, I nodded my head in consent as the salty streams of water ran down my face. Satisfied now as she loosened her grip, I felt the pain vanish as if it all been some sort of illusion. With her eyes smile, she further added, Don't get me wrong, Toby. I've been sent to protect you by the goddess herself. This is what she meant. Said while instructing me to keep my eyes focused on the lie that on the window glass. Yet there was something about the way she pronounced the last syllable of my name that really rubbed me. Little by little, the line of passengers slowly began to flow out of the train car. Prodded on by Sister Carnelia, I inched forward while keeping my gaze on the platform, flashing the car window. Down the stairs, which led to the front ticket gate, were the figure of those men from earlier this morning, the three thug-like passengers who'd been loitering near the large horsehead emblem at the Imperial Station. A muffled laugh echoed from her throat as she too noticed them. Oh, isn't this a warm welcome reception? After you've got going on? Cocking my head, I quietly pleaded, Maybe about my ornament. Sister Carnelia said nothing. Members of the crew bid us farewell as we stepped through the exit to disembark the train onto the lead-coloured platform. Angrily, I thought to myself, damn it, what's wrong with these fools? Can't they see what's going on? I shut my eyes halfway to protect them from the drizzle whipping against my face, and I hurriedly descended the wet set of stairs, half pace at a time. Sister Carnelia moved along behind me at precisely the same length of stride. Below, the group of thugs waited expectantly on the stairs. It's to me, no doubt. Contemplating the rate at which I was going, I ultimately believed it was only a matter of time before I would be handed over to the enigmatic group. I caught sight of their soured faces as the distance between us grew smaller and felt the heat of my left hand tightly gripping my bag glow in intensity, until my palm began to sweat profusely. Missing the midway point on the stairs, Sister Connie suddenly whispered in my ear, "Keep your eyes on the ground, Toby." I did as I was told and cast my gaze down upon the tips of my boots, stained to a darker shade by the rainwater. Then, right at the moment I let out my breath, I felt a deep sense of pressure just below my shoulder blade, as I was forcefully shoved forward. Droplets flew from my saturated fingers, and my world turned upside down as I stumbled down the stairs and slammed back first into the hoodlum. With a muffled crunch, I felt the painful sensation of my ribs crumble under the weight of my body. I returned to normal from their severely compressed state. Two of the seemingly military men who hit as I toppled down the stairs, like avalanche unleashed on a pair of young saplings, absorbed the transfer of force and were thrown into a large puddle collecting on the ground nearby. Shrieks erupted from startled passengers nearby, more shrill than the high-pitched sound of the railway brakes and the decelerating locomotive. As my world spun wildly around me, I lay there, a chill of tiles seeping into my back. With a concerted effort, I rolled my eyes to the left where my arm remained in outstretched state. By some act of the goddess, I managed to keep my tight 5-finger grip on the bag I had been carrying. In an effort to get up, I slid into a prostrate position, keeping my chin in contact with the ground. Making a low visual sweep of the vicinities, life depended on it, I noticed the military-like physiques of the men had vanished from view. The only figure I saw standing above me on the platform was that of Sister Cornelia, and on her shoulder, I always fumble that. On her shoulder, as if she were merely hefting a sack of grain, was one of the men. Turning in the direction where the train sat in its motionless state, she looked the unfortunate man down onto the set of empty rail tracks below. Every time I had risen one knee while keeping the other planted firmly on the ground in a half-standing position. This time, half-standing position. The water in front of me was still swimming, undulating in my wavering eyesight. My head slowly rocked back and forth. The provision of Sister Cornelia's boots approached me. From the strong grip, she tugged on my hand. For some reason or another, when she did this, I felt to notice the unpleasant feeling that her hand wrapped tightly around my board. "Let's go, Toby," she instructed in an authoritative voice. Nearly dragging me, she pulled me to my feet, and before long, we were hightailing it out of there. The onlookers made quite a commotion as they moved hastily out of the way in a determined attempt not to be caught in the middle of our flight path. The bag in my left hand swung helplessly, knocking against my thigh. After clearing the ticket gate, Sister Cornelia finally let go of my hand, but a sickening slippery sensation came with it. Looking over at her, I realized the stomach-churning, slimy feeling on my hand had come from the bright light of blood which stained both of her. I peered back over my shoulder in the direction the platforms continued to run. The figures of the 3 men who had been waiting me at the station were nowhere to be found. She's scary, she's cool, I like her. Emissary of the Sabbath. I sat staring at the partially melted lump of butter and a stack of cold pancakes. Picking up a fork, I poked at them, and after turning the top of them over, I dabbed the milky yellow substance between the rubbery layers. In doing so, my interest in what sat atop my plate faded to nil. A hanging lamp dangled overhead, making a sporadic buzzing sound as honey-coloured light flickered, creating jittery shadows and distorting my vision. Pouring rain outside didn't appear as if it would let up any time soon either. Bringing my face close to the window, I peered through the film of water flowing down the outside of the glass, as I tried to make out the dimly lit avenue. Although the station house sat right at the end of the road from where we lodged, all that was visible was the side of the structure, obscured by a shadow which prevented me from being able to see the platform. "There's nothing to be worried about," said Sister Cornelia, she returned, wiping her hands with a handkerchief as white as newly driven snow. Stretching the square strip of cloth out, she sat down and placed it nearly into her lap like a napkin. Then, in a reassuring tone, she added, "We've seen the last of them for a while." Watching the tips of her fingers move as she smoothed out the wrinkles in the piece of fabric resting on her legs, I was hit with a sudden flashback, a reviving awful sight and coppery scent of the sticky blood which had covered those hands not more than a few hours ago. "How can you be so certain?" I asked, still having more than a few reservations. "Because that's how these types of crime syndicates work," he replied, clearly seeming to know all the answers. The waiter came and set legs in front of Sister Cornelia with a soft clink as the base of the glassy dish tapped lightly against the hard surface of the table. After scooting the meat-laden porcelain plate close to her, She licked off the sauce, now covering the tips of her fingers in the most sensual way. Sickened by the bloody majority in my mind, and now the sauce, I tossed my fork aside and leaned heavily back in my chair. The city outside began to fade into shades of grey, and by the time Sister Carnina was finished tucking away her steak, it completely sunk into the darkness of night. I questioned her again. How can you be so certain they won't come after us? Using a piece of black crusted bread to wet drops of sauce, she answered, because that's how they function. One unit consists of 3 people. And as if she remembering something else important, she added, "This group is after you. They're the Jaeger Corps." Hey, I recognise that name. The references, the lore, setting. Upon hearing this, I recalled seeing some of those men at the landing port some time ago. Only the most renowned and skilled of mercenary groups, if you want to call themselves the Jaeger Corps, or at least Richard told me about them. They were soldiers of fortune, were said to relentlessly follow the flow of mirror whenever that happened to lead. They never stopped at nothing to get even if it meant spilling blood. The hawks, mercenaries without orders, and a group I would never get involved with, is what Mitch had often had a habit of saying about them. Instinctively, I set my foot forward and checked the location of my bag with the tip of it. It's quite simple, really, Sister Carnina explained. She reached for a dessert. You, Toby, are carrying something that's apparently got a lot of people on edge, and someone's hired a Jaeger Corps to take you out. But it's not me they're after, what I'm carrying. It's all the same, she retorted, as she gulped down her cup of tea in a single breath. They're going to kill the courier before they even think about searching the contents of his bag. A butcher kills a cow before someone grills a steak, not the other way around. Lecturing me all the while, Sister Carnina took a glossy, hollow-handled knife in hand and sliced into her apple pie. The powdered sugar sprinkled on the flaky crust danced in the golden light. I felt a stabbing pain of guilt race through me, just above my gut. Unexpectedly, I began to think about what Mitch could be doing at the moment. My short period of rumination was cut short when I saw Sister Carnina's hands stop cold. Glaring into the darkness, eyes focused and intent like a hunting dog's. She tossed something shiny onto the table and eventually rose to her feet. There was my ordinary. "Where are you going?" Without pausing to answer my question, Sister Carnina expeditionally fought for good. "You've got good case, Toby." One at a time, she set her heels onto the chair and tightened her boots. Using the full capabilities of that organ is no small feat. I think even most bracers would be in for a real surprise if Push King shoved you in the ring. Growing even more impatient, I asked once again, "But where is it that you're going?" "That's none of your concern," the answer. "Nice to say I'll be seeing you again on the morrow." And with that, Sister Carnina disappeared through the door of the women's restroom. As if exchanged places, 2 other men entered the restaurant. They walked directly to the table which I sat and stood before me, flushing the emblem on his chest and without making any sort of eye contact. One of the men said, "We're with the Bracer Guild. I apologize for disturbing you in the middle of your evening meal, but you'll need to come with us." Hey, what, are we playing a video game? No, this is a visual novel. Shut up. Ascertaining the inner working. My ordnance, empty bag and package wrapped in old magazine paper laid out neatly on the table in front of me. The bracer sitting opposite me gazed alternately at my face and the items on the table, as if trying to gauge my reaction to them. Constantly rubbing his chin between his fingers, it appeared to me as though he were making an effort to display his right hand, narrowly fit with a leather gauntlet. I had been led to the second floor of the lodge by the 2 men, and then, after they had painstakingly checked the layout of the floor, I was taken to the farthest room from the stairs. It occurred to me that the reason for the use of the makeshift space was due to there being no guild branch nearby. The first man, sitting in front of me, was a lanky one. He told me his name, but I soon forgot which one was Clayton and which one was Pavel. Those real names? Are those the names of characters I should know? I don't know, it's been so long. They could be canon names, this could be based on real life story, I don't know. By the time I'd finished being frisked, the bracer wearing the gauntlets, Clayton or Pavel, whichever it was, returned and whispered something in his partner's ear. It seemed as though they were trying to locate Sister Carnina, but having no luck. After much probing on the subject of her and the Jaeger Corps, and after relating everything I heard from her on the train, I turned the conversation around and, playing the role of the victim, inquired into her past history. Though, strictly speaking, I guess I was. Her name is Salmate. Ein Salmate. Read out a lanky brace from a pocketbook he held just below eye level. Hey! It's the bracer book! Originally a constituent member of the Jaeger Corps, present affiliation activities are unknown. In short, added his partner pompously, she's not the type of person any upstanding citizen should be getting involved with. He reached out his gauntlet-clad hand and picked up an object bundle of scrap paper. Taking my reaction all the while, he unwrapped the paper, laying it out flat in the centre of the table. Something turned out to be a lump of metal engraved with a sort of clay-like substance. I blurted out, I was on my way to a research institute with the item and everything happened. And threw in the address of some nice and client for good measure. The brochure took notes, making sure not to leave out any details of the conversation. Then, to display any lingering suspicions, I agreed to stay with them under their watchful eyes for now. The next day, I also found myself inclined to go along with them to the nearest guild branch, not to file a report about the events that happened back at the station. But I had no qualms over the matter. My greatest concern at that moment, after all, was not running into any more trouble. I woke as the sun came up over the horizon in daybreak. With the advent of a peaceful morning, I sat up in bed and breathed a sigh of relief. The bracers who had stood guard at the previous night were no longer present in me, as now their voices could be heard echoing out in the hallway beyond the closed door. Slipping my arms through the sleeves of my jacket, I felt a sharp pain in my right elbow, which brought back vivid memories of the morning. Suddenly, a feeling of uneasiness came over me, and, still half undressed, I began adjusting my ornament. After opening its back cover, I used a thin piece of tanned doe skin and started plucking out the cords installed in each slot. It didn't take but 5 minutes to insert them each into different slots and rearrange their configuration with a set of light magic base. One by one, I replaced each screw until finally the metallic panel was back in place. As a feeling of calmness set in, I rolled back over in bed. It was at that time that a tall woman appearing to be a maid opened the door carrying a basin of hot water for the sink, with which guests could shave and wash their faces. After placing a small steaming tub on the table, the woman inquired about her daily task and moving the bed linen. Finding myself shooed from my own bed, I reluctantly headed to the basin, just pulling the open door, caught the sight of 2 shadows coming across the way in succession. I heard myself mutter as the low tone of my suppressed voice. With a bar of soap in hand, I remained unbelievably calm as I quietly shut and bolted the door. And pondering my next move, I stood still with my back pressed against the wall. On the other side of the hardened clay wall, a brief clamour of fighting ensued. Fumbling with the chain attached to my hip pocket, I grabbed hold of my ornament I had adjusted just barely moments before. There was 2 braces versus the 2 others I had seen go. Throwing myself into the mix of the 2 men for the guild would definitely put us in an advantage from a numbers standpoint. However, when I turned again to face the door, a voice of self-doubt came percolating through my closed lips in a form of a distant mutter. I muttered to myself, if Sister Carnia's voice were to be believed, then one unit consisted of 3 keeping 2. Again, I questioned myself inwardly, where's the 3rd? I had my back, head, and my neck stood on end as I realised my plight. Something swung over the top of my head, catching me around the neck. Next instant I was flung to the ground. From the corner of my blurred and spotty vision came the inexplicable view of a woman with demonic bloodshot eyes staring over me, trying to wrench the very life out of me with every twist of the sheet she had wrapped tightly around my throat. Clutching my ornament in hand, I activated it and fired off a burst of magic while laying half asphyxiated on the wooden planks of the floor. The destructive vortex of compressed air sliced deeply into my hip, but at the same time caused the woman to double over before forcibly blowing her to another part of the room. Shreds of whirling linen, flecked and sprayed with fresh blood, blasted out through a gaping hole in the wall where a closed window once stood, leaving nothing behind but shards of broken glass and a frame rent beyond all repair. I'm always a big fan of moments of lightness where it was like, wait a minute, it's the other one. Oh goodness gracious, there are 11 chapters. Death of a friend. Wheezing, I breathed in, the sound high and whistling as the air fought to make its way through my constricted windpipe. Still clutching tightly to my ornament, I unwound the sheets from my throat. Utterly exhausted, I tipped my head on its side and watched with reddened eyes, washing saliva dribble down over the edge of my mouth and pool on the floor. When fresh air finally made its way into my lungs, it initially choked me nearly as badly as the sheet had. A thump from somewhere behind startled me from my fit. The Jaeger demoness, like a spring-loaded doll, leapt up on the floor of the room. The single shot of magic I previously landed in her gut should have done the trick, but the fluid way she moved about made it appear as if she were unfazed by the blast. Now I was the reach of where I had subconsciously curled myself. and the splintering sound of unseasoned wood being hewn down by a giant woodcutter's axe. In the following instant, Sister Carnita came flying through her newly opened hole on the timber door, her entry punctuated by a cloud of splinters. Her arms as pliant as whips, she passed the female Jaeger in a lightning-quick motion, and with a turning assault, clocked her opponent full tilt in the face. The woman spun with the force of the blow and fell with a tumultuous thud, her head cracking hard against the floor. Like a prima ballerina, Sister Carnita raised her knee high until she tucked securely against her sternum. She stared down the outstretched figure on the floor. Muscles flexed, and without an ounce of mercy, Sister Carnita let her judgment fall, with the heel of her boot stomping down and crushing the wretched woman's throat. As I witnessed the grotesque and unsightly scene, Sister Carnita gave a quick glance in my direction, beckoning me. Then, with a nimble hop into the unknown before her, oh goodness. She cleared the broken window frame and lighted to the ground below. Quickly scraping my belongings together, I made up after her in the same manner she had left, out the window with a 2-story drop to the cobblestone side road below. Waiting close by and helping me to break my less than elegant fall, Sister Carnita led me on as we took flight along the avenue, brightly lit by the morning sun. A deafening blare from all engines' whistle indicated the first train was about to depart. Sister Carnita immediately pulled a ticket from out of her coat pocket and held it out to me from the side. Reaching for the floating strip of paper between her fingers, I realized I was still carrying the bar of soap from before, so I chucked it. Not caring where it landed or hit my head. Aboard the train, the smoky haze from the incessant smoke of the nattering gentleman that permeated every nook and cranny of the passenger car. This was the smell of newly printed publications and the occasional sound of someone clearing their throat. It felt rather awkward of boarding a train bound for an imperial city with bags in hand. You know what your problem is, Toby? This Canadian remarked. You're just like that orphan of yours. Using her white handkerchief, she staunched the flow of blood from my leg, which had been lacerated by the spinning arrow blade from her. Once you get yourself into trouble, you keep digging yourself in deeper until someone comes along with a billy club and whacks some good sense into you. Placing a folded magazine in my lap, he tapped on it with the nail of her index finger, indicating I should read what was inside. It was a copy of the Imperial Chronicle, which had been published just this morning. A several-lined article, buried pages behind more titillating news, told the suspicious death of one Orbital factory worker, owner, somewhere within the capital. This was the first time I'd ever become aware of Mitch's real age. Sister Carnita continued her lecture as she mercilessly upbraided me for my reckless behaviour. You missed being caught up in all of this by a hair's breadth, he informed me coolly. I lost for words of the shock of Mitch's death, put the magazine away in my trench coat pocket. Another 5 minutes in that shop and you would have gone to meet your maker too. I shook my head and with a trembling lips, let my thoughts fumble out my mouth. I just don't get it. Why did Mitch have to die? Images of Mitch's cold body behind the counter alternate in my mind with a lump of metal wrapped in scrap paper. Just what the hell have I been carrying this time? Why did anyone have to die over it? I pondered at length. As I got his eye, met my eyes and held them. Was this an artifact? He says, an artifact? I scoffed as I blew off her answer. Like I haven't carried a bunch of them before. Artifacts, in short, were the remaining legacy of an ancient civilization, and a generic term for any unidentifiable mechanism that resembled that of an ornament. I spent my days as a courier smuggling any number of those items under the false pretense that the goods I were carrying were nothing more than rare antiques, and readily placed in the hands of those aristocrats among whom they were especially in vogue. And for the most part, my current possession appeared as though it belonged to the same group as the others. Personally, I could find no other value in collecting these artifacts, besides the indulgence of oneself in a decadent hobby. Chiding me as if I were a clueless child, Sister Carnita rebuked. You're wrong, Toby. This one's much different. After a moment's pause, she added, it's alive. Unable to grasp what she had meant, I looked at her with a questioning expression on my face. Sister Carnita tried again. What I'm trying to tell you is that it still works. Although I'm not really sure what kind of power it actually has. It was unearthed during an excavation within the Empire's territory about 30 years ago. Oh. Sister Connie's subsequent story about the peculiar lump of metal, full of dark history surrounding a group of aristocrats who relentlessly sought after it. The artifact itself had transitioned from hand to hand by those in power, as one after another they were murdered or slumbering in their bedchamber. Then, at the end of the 100 Days' War, its whereabouts were said to have been lost. And strangely enough, while they stand up in the capital after all this time, she said, finishing up the egg. An announcement chimed in the passenger car, notifying those riding the scheduled time of arrival. Sister Carnina uncrossed and recrossed her long legs. One who was after the artifact highly called to bring them its effect, whatever the cost. So as a result, I was dispatched by the church in order to protect both you and it from falling into their hands. I sat staring down at the bag resting next to my feet as we approached our destination. The moving train quietly began. Yeah, I know we're supposed to be doing some espionage and get to this guy's bedroom, whatever, but this story is interesting, yeah. Even if it's making for a pretty good bedtime story because I'm falling asleep reading it. First arrow trails in the sky through gameplay and it's been really a book. In the bowels of the Imperial City. Moving purposely through the crowd, we made our way between the rows of seats. Each time the swinging bag in hand struck the side of my knee, I became keenly aware of its presence. It was an unnerving feeling, like I had unintentionally brushed up against someone in an offensive way. Furthermore, it was nearly inconceivable to my mind that the ancient relic the Jaeger Corps pursued with such a frenzy was sitting right here inside the stitched cloth deep handbag. What a fool Mitch had been. Had he known the burden this object would bring would be one far more weighty than both of us could ever hope to bear. I squeezed my eyes shut against the thoughts flying around my head. My mind, and addressed Sister Carnina, who was following close behind me. We'll be making a break for the cathedral once we get off. Yes, that was the plan, she answered, scanning the seat outside the window of the passenger car. I think that's the only option we've got if you want to make it through this day alive. The station where the crowd was set to arrive was unremittingly crowded with countless rows of passengers, and as usual, the sky was slightly overcast. Everyone outside on the platform stood shivering in silence with their collars drawn up to their ears, huddling close to one another for warmth, like a flock of waterfowl out on the tidelands in midwinter. Don't worry, I won't be tossing you down a flight of stairs this time, Toby, suggested Sister Cunningham. Although, if there were two more of you at my disposal, I might have decided otherwise. Evidently, numbers at our welcome party this time have seen a rather dramatic increase. The odds don't appear to be in our favour, she said in a low voice, her warm breath tickling the air. We won't be able to leave through the night. As soon as we stepped off the train, we stealthily moved to the opposite end of the platform, and after sneaking out a large door for only unauthorised station personnel, we jumped down onto the path of railroad ties and steel rails below. The biting cold of the capital swept freely across the unobstructed railroad tracks, causing me to shudder as it ruffled our coats with its chilly touch. Sitting between the couplers of a pair of freight trains, we moved cautiously along their edge, sticking close to the shadows. Over on the cargo platform, workers were busy unloading the containers. Someone had his mind set on becoming a dealer of pilfered goods. Getting an illicit entry into the station house would be one of the first of all basic. Showing my ticket, I spoke politely to one of the workers. Then, with the scenario played out in my head, I saluted him as I played the part of a manager here, on business with a celebrity of noble repute. Midway through our conversation, I introduced Sister Cornelia, who did her best to show the man a glamorous smile and feminine pose. I had possibly gone a bit overboard when I stated she was an opera singer, as the way she carried herself made her look more akin to a low-wage cellar-song in a bar of drunkards. Yet in spite of it all, the work first she let us through. You're so good it's almost scary, Toby. Sister Cornelia said as we raced through the station's warehouse sector. You should seriously consider doing another job. I bet you're going to tell me to join the Bracer Guild, right? Well, those guys would turn me down a heartbeat. I said as I laughed off the thought. And throwing the idea back in the court, I asked, how about yourself? Why don't you join the Bracer Guild? Reaching into the warehouse sector, we came to a stop in front of a large chain-link fence. Sister Cunningham crouched down, and while sliding a drainage cup to the side, she laughed at my previous question as if it were insane. Are you kidding? She asked. They'd gun me down the second I set foot in one of their branches. The winding, narrow stone tunnels like the one we were in ran everywhere beneath the capital. We recalled all the lights shining down the drainage gates on the side of the larger road. Above us, illuminated the way like a trail of flickering orb lamp. The feet of those walking above the avenue passed right by where we were, and not a single person noticed us scraping our way along below them. And for some strange reason or another, the world just below the flagstone paved road appeared so dazzling now that the Jaeger Corps lost his artifact in my hand, and a sense of sudden death, all of which had never crossed my mind before, lay in wait for me dead. I ventured into the open world above. As we pressed on, I began to think that the small round tunnel we were crawling through would run on forever. We finally emerged with a high-ceilinged sewer, surrounded by walls of callous blocks of chiseled stone. We'll go through here and make our way over to where the cathedral is located, as the Cunningham insisted. Raising one brow, she pointed a finger upwards. It's a lot safer down there than it is up there. That's fine and all, but what are we going to do if it gets attacked? Sister Cunningham grabs my hand and with that stepped into the muddy darkness beyond. Don't worry, Toby, you assure me. Faith isn't the only thing supporting the church. The flicker of dying orb lamps mounted at equidistant lengths among the sewer walls sent thin streaks of light across the surface of a rippling flow of filthy sewer. Passing in front of these one by one, Sister Cornelia sped down the stone sidewalk, the sound of her body cutting through the racing tunnel and trailed out behind her. Panting out of breath, I continued to move my feet through the darkness which lay before me as she stalked Sister Cornelia's flickering shadow. Wayworn, yet without a moment of repose, we headed unrelentingly with our sights set on the Cathedral of the Septine Church. We moved swiftly across the moss-covered stone pavement, the clacking of our heels echoing in the dimly lit underground. Above ground, the walking distance on the city roads from the railway station to the cathedral were about 3 blocks. If we made our way up through the drainage ditch just beyond the sluice gate, we'd find ourselves in a public square outside the massive sanctuary. Up ahead, the light of another orb lamp came into view. Moving ahead in my direction, and without a word, Sister Cornelia extended her right hand outward in a wide motion, indicating we'd be turning that way in that corner. Then, as if preparing for something, she rolled both shoulders in a grinding motion, relieved the last of her tension with the pop of her neck. It seemed to me that she knew all too well what lurking within the tenuous conduit underhead. Okay. Under the unsteady and sporadic coruscation of light, the body of Sister Cornelia surged around the corner and disappeared from view. 1, 2, 3 went the walloping echoes, followed by the sound of something being rolled into the channel of filthy sludge. As I turned the corner, the first thing which came to my side were the contoured figures of 2 men on the ground whom I barely missed treading on. Sister Cornelia, who was by this time several steps ahead, continued to run at her usual pace if nothing had happened during the preceding second. It's Cornelia, an angry but noticeably wavering voice from behind. I glanced at my rear to locate the source. There I found a man who dragged himself in the fecal-filled liquid, now lying next to his dead comrades, yelling with his tight breath as blood leaked out from his open mouth. Cornelia, she's down here, he managed to croak before falling silent and still. Sister Cornelia paid no attention nor made any effort to look back. I turned my face forward and followed her example. The walls of the conduit leading directly into the sluice gate squared out into an ominous mouth of darkness, seemingly waiting for its next unsuspecting meal. Sister Cornelia gradually slowed her pace to match mine, as I had by this time become completely exhausted and out of breath. It looks as though these guys are dead serious about getting their hands on that item this time, she said as she focused her eyes on the darkness for us. Are those old men friends of yours or something? I inquired. Sister Cornelia turned to face me with dark and scarlet eyes. Is that what you heard from those braces the other day? I asked. I nodded my head and questioned her no further. With her head slightly turned down, I forced myself onward, eyes fixed on the tips of my boots. Unexpectedly, Sister Cornelia opened her mouth and said, Remember that woman you had a run-in back at the inn? I nodded slightly. The whole reason I gave up my life as a mercenary is because I didn't want to meet a tragic end like that. A life of no meaning, forgotten by all. I looked up at Sister Cornelia, and seeing a slight show of emotion at the side of her face, let her repeat the same lines of words a few times more before finishing her thought. If I'm going to cash my life's chips, I think it's best I fight for something worth fighting for. At least that way, I'll be able to leave a legacy of my existence behind. Taking in her words, I rose steadily beside her as I felt a sense of nondescript apprehension slowly begin to creep over me. During the short intervals between breaths, it suddenly seemed as if I were hearing the faint sound of sloshing water from behind, which caused me to prick up my ears and turn my head in its direction. So you noticed it too, huh, Toby? Sister Cornelia slowed her steps, until finally coming to a complete stop. They blockaded us from behind, so there's no turning back now. But the darkness of our situation heavy in her voice. We had arrived in the intersection where the conduit we were in and another crossed paths, and just beyond the wide, fetid flow of sewage water for us, I could see the dim sluice gate. I placed my back against the damp bricks of the nearest wall for a moment to try to catch my breath. They're probably lying in wait for us, Sister Cornelia assessed solidly after glaring across the flowing sewage and tunnels, and then turning ahead to the rear and narrowing her eyes again. And unfortunately, this time I won't be able to circumvent it. With a sound of composure revealing her utmost resolve, Sister Cornelia took in a few deep breaths. I laid a hand on my augment, gripping it in the palm of my sweaty hand, and then wrapped a stray of my strap on my back, secured around my opposite. And as always, Sister Cornelia checked her boots before standing upright. Then taking a few steps back and holding my breath, I raced forward and darted in the steaming flow of the water. Going through the sewage, oh dear. Sister Cornelia made such haste as she aimed for the path on the opposite side of the sludge-filled channel, I could have sworn she was actually running on a liquid surface. Based on my observation, the minuscule splatters her feet produced. And of course, she passed me by in the blink of an eye, space growing wider and wider between us as I continued to trudge my way through the filthy mud. Flashes of magic erupted from the darkness by the sluice gate and ripped through the air in rapid succession. None of them could overtake the speed at which Sister Cornelia moved. Unyielding offensive by the shadowed aggressor, the settled feculence in the depths of the channel was thrown up in the form of a powerful tsunami, and in the instance before clearing myself from its destructive path, I feared that the terrible wall of sedimented filth would crush me under its weight and bring me to an unsightly end. With a mid-air spin to avoid the last of the oncoming magic, Sister Cornelia flew to the opposite side of the channel with incredible speed. Huddling the wall of piled-up sandbags behind which the attackers took over, she rolled her arms in a ferocious onslaught. One by one, like a row of pins being struck by a weighted object, a line of Jaegers crumbled to the ground. Sister Cornelia's attacks were like a whirlwind of death, blurry with the speed of which they struck. They came in advancing at inconceivable angles, puncturing throats, slashing open arteries, and then they were gone. It was that when I finally reached the cobbled paths beyond the stagnant channel, not a soul was left standing beside Cornelia and myself. The cathedral was at the end of a ladder just beyond this gate, indicated that she flicked the dripping blood from her fingers, like a child who put a handkerchief through her wet hands. Her eyes shone with the afterglow of battle. The Jaegers can't be far behind, so we'd better hurry, she. As if to punctuate her warning, the damp sound of numerous feet kicking up water as they advanced toward our present location had now become clearly audible in my ear. Tipping over the handful of Jaeger corpses lying scattered around behind the wall of the sandbags, we made our way for the dry bed channel which lay ahead of us. I placed my hands on the slightly damp stone floor of the empty channel and crawled through the half-open door of the sluice gate. Falling water droplets struck me on my neck as I passed through the cramped opening, causing me to stop dead in my tracks. In that moment, I followed I recognized the sound of an organ overhead on the verge of discharging a burst of magic. Ruby! Came the ostensible voice of Sister Cornelia, as my vision was instantly flooded with a wave of exceeding brightness. Then, in the midst of this world of blinding light, came the hand of a saviour which grabbed me firmly by the shoulder. The powerful feeling of being dragged and the explosion produced by magic of rupturing stone were almost simultaneous. As the booming roar swept across the whole of my body, I was thrown backwards toward the ground. Despite my cloud of vision, I managed to somersault before landing in the prone position. Choking on the filthy puddle I had fallen face down in, I lifted my head in time to see a cloud of blackened dust being heaved from the mouth of the hallway, halfway raised through the skate floor. And as if my worst nightmare had become reality, I watched as one after another, the blockading Jaegers emerged from a smoky cloud, each bearing a glinting blade. I floundered stood about on the slippery mud and watched as their ranks sprang into action and closed in, their rugged facial features now visible to my eyes. Instantly rolling to the side, I unsheathed my hidden blade, as I attempted to deflect a wide-arching slash of another with my bag. The claw of the blade, over which the sharp edge ran, split open without a sound, and the paper-wrapped ornament fell into the cobbled floor. Frantically, I searched the ornament to my side, unable to get a grip on it because of my clumsy, panic-stricken state. One mercenary man, his eyes intent on my throat, drew back his long sword to end my life. But before he could make his move, a dark silhouette appeared from behind him. It was Sister Cornelia. Her hands, moving with such finesse, disarmed the man in an instant. I had only his sword behind him before he was staunch from view, seeing shadows yelling, veiling the dank conduit. As the sound of the falling sword struck the ground with a high-pitched clink, Sister Cornelia dropped to her knees, her soft twisted words full of regret. Sorry, Toby. With her head bowed forward, I watched in disbelief as several streaks of blood began to run down the side of her face. I think goddess may be calling you home too, she said gently. Once again, Sister Cornelia rose to her feet, her coat hanging in tatters. Eyeing her out of the garden's wrecked state, I knew for certain it had been caused by the previous blast of magic. In order to protect me from harm, Sister Cornelia had willingly used her body as a shield to absorb the brunt of the force. And now, a stain of effervescing crimson blood had begun to seep through the cloth covering her breast. Psyched up the artifact, it tumbled to the ground from the hole in my severed bag and tore away the wet paper which covered its surface. Then, with a cold lump of metal in my hand, I placed it atop my ornament and I gripped them both tightly together. The sound of falling the egg corpse had by now subsided. They stood in a cluster with their swords drawn, effectively blocking any possible escape from the sluice gate. Sister Cornelia let out a shrill cry, and I, as if taking the sound to be a command to attack, unleashed the pent-up energy within my ornament. The voice roared, and the instant the magic was discharged, I felt an immense wave of searing heat graze over my cheeks, as my entire body was immediately blown backwards by its powerful force. Stunned, I collapsed onto the floor. When I finally opened my eyes, I could see Sister Cornelia standing above me, back turned to face me. Her right arm had lost all strength to function and hung limply at her side. Dazedly, she slid to her knees and slumped on the ground before me. I pulled Sister Cornelia close to myself and hugged her tightly, blasted the pack of assailing mercenaries with an instantaneous wave of magic. Then it was all over, and I was standing as soon as begun. Anna's razor-sharp swords tipped, stared at us from all sides. As I had finally reached my life's terminus, I raised my right hand, and while placing full tip in my ornament to somehow protect us, I activated it, the last of its energy being consumed to drained empty. Whirling arrow blades spun around us as I closed my eyes, accepting my fate. Behind my darkened eyelids, an endless realm of whiteness spread out before me. Legacy never to be forgotten. I was swallowed by the light, only to be spewed moments later onto a patch of hardened ground. The air was filled with the scent of sun-baked earth, yet for being the floor of some grandiose heavenly estate inherited by those in the afterlife, I felt quite like the flagstones I'd grown accustomed to in my past life. Upon feeling around in my immediate surroundings, my searching hand found soft locks of dishevelled hair. It seemed as though Sister Cornelia had come as well to meet our creator firsthand. Gradually, as I lay there, I felt something warm swell within the pit of my stomach. Weary and spent, I just let the feeling spread over me. By this time, the sound of numerous voices started to fill the air around us. Warm breath tickled across my nose and brow, letting me know I was being stared at in the face. As my eyes just the intensity of light, I realized I was looking into the face of a young girl who beamed back at me brightly with the wildest smiles. However, she seemed a bit young to hold the esteemed position of the goddess. The knell of a bell overhead rang out loud and clear. Strangely, distinctive sound, and exactly like a distinctive toll. Thinking in a series of events to be rather odd, I picked myself up and, at last, waked from the dream which temporarily invaded my senses. There was the familiar cityscape, the sounds, even the scent of the breeze. I knew this place by heart. It was the public square of the Imperial City, which unfolded before the grand cathedral of the Section Church. I opened the fingers of my right hand and stared down at the metallic lamp in its palm, instructed me by Mitch. Golden filaments of light swirled across the surface of the artifact. I instantly recalled Sister Cornelia's words. "It's alive," she had said, and I watched the light gradually fade away before closing my hand around its surface once more. I believed it. Supporting each other by wrapping our arms around one another's shoulders, Sister Cornelia and I hobbled and limped our way to the magnificent cathedral as the awe-inspiring figure of the goddess, Ideos, stood silently with unfurled wings, watching it for us from a deep-hued stained glass window above. And as for the events which followed, they were settled in an orderly fashion. The metallic lamp which Sister Carmelita had so daringly wished her life for was turned over to His Eminence, the Cardinal, presiding over the cathedral. He disappeared with it through the thick open door of a sacred vault. The level of corruption which had spread like a plague among members of the Imperial Court, influential aristocrats, and even the commissioned officers of the Imperial Army, astonished even those mediators acting on behalf of the Bracer Guild. I stayed close by Sister Carnelia as she was laid out on a pew within the chapel. The real sister of the church delicately pulled off her coat and cut open her vest, now stuck to her body with dried blood. Upon doing so, they found an ornate shirt of chainmail just beneath the layer of her clothing, which for some strange reason seemed to cool them all. The next day, a certain aristocrat, who would hardly court carry out his selfish bidding, agreed to relinquish the artifacts in his possession in return for keeping his estate. Hence, his collection of forbidden antiques was brought under the safekeeping protection. Sworn to secrecy, I made immediate arrangements to take my leave for the Calvert Republic. My destination, a high-class resort, which turned out to be an excellent way to recover both physically and mentally, as well as forget about the series of events which had occurred over the past few days. Naturally, the brace designer provided my escort for none other than Clayton and Pavel, who before we left guided me without a word to my Sister Cornelia was resting. I walked with Sister Cornelia, who had awoken for a short interval. Once I got up to leave, she reached out her dainty hand and said to me, "Before you go, say my real name. It's I'm Insanate." At her grow, I finished hand in mine and gripped it firmly as I expressed my appreciation of what she had done. And today, now 3 years later, I sit staring at her name once again, this time printed on a page in pure chronicle. Ein Sanate. Below those printed characters ran the few lines of an unembellished article. Yesterday, a corpse was discovered in an urban area of the capital just before dawn. The body was found covered in multiple stab wounds. Parts in life have been involved in charitable work and brought salvation to many afflicted souls in various regions. As I read the last line, I envisioned the deceased figure of Sister Carnelia laying motionless upon the darkened street. Yet, despite the blood-stained face I envisioned in my mind, I saw how she rested in peace, a gentle smile crossing her face, and vindicated of any transgression. As I held up a copy of the magazine in hand, I brushed my hands lightly across the shining brochure emblem pinned on my chest. Almost 2 years had passed since I converted to my line of work, which Sister Carnelia has so graciously recommended to me. And finally, I didn't become used to using my real name, Toby, in West Carnelia, as I resurrected in my ears. Now only known as Toby, I pressed my forehead up against the cold-cladded window of the passenger car. The fulgent eye of Sister Carnelia shining bright like carnelian stone, forever ingrained in my memory. In my mind's eye, I watched as her coat sleeves trailed out behind her. She dashed away into the darkness of my memories. Opening my eyes, I gazed out through window glass. There I saw the bleeding, rouge-covered illumination in Imperial City, faded away from everyone. That was a really good read. That took me an hour. But that was a really good read. Check this out, a fine collection of books. Let's go harass more people. Hi. Oh no, not a casino hall. Ah. Wretched hive of scum and villainy. The Alicia chain of high-class clubs is main branch in the capital. We expect his employees to be trained to the highest caliber, and you'd be right. Speaking of highest caliber, perhaps I would snap some. I feel like someone with a lot of money. Black, it's gonna be black. We read 5 times through, it has to be black, surely. Everything's enjoyed in moderation. Don't tell me how much I should and shouldn't gamble. Have a little money have just getting on the ship today. This is life rich people in the country need. Let inside memory enough, forget it. Continue to make your way into the modern world. Life easy. I'm sorry, right? It's supposed to be a free-form game. Why are you doing this? Why are you... Oh, we step outside and the lag returns. Oh, the shadows. Oh, the rendering. Alton? Wait a minute, I know you. I do wish your toss speed was a little faster than 1000 APH. Nothing B when it comes to your size capacity. Getting a whole 1000 people on board isn't something any other ship can boast. What's up?
Stop right there. This staircase leads to Sir Conrad's private room. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to.
I figured you'd say something like that. It's alright though.
This is gonna be your lucky day. What you doing?
Laser beam.
Looks like I'm dealing with a bunch of Jaeger dropouts.
You don't seem that well trained, do you?
Egg. Sure wish every job had this easy.
Dude, you jinxed it! You totally jinxed it! Whatever.
Wow, talk about pointlessly fancy.
Right.
Now where's he hidden?
Let's see. There's a switch underneath the vein. Look at that.
Well, I bet it's not the only one.
Switch behind the desk. The switch the armrest of the sofa.
Must have been a fake. Don't want me.
There must be... a potted plant, and there we go. Easy as.
And there we go. Everything so far been completely in line with what I expect, which means that...
There's a panel with buttons that have letters written on them. Passes some kind of parent must be entered.
I wonder...
Orpheus? How do you spell Orpheus? Duh.
I figured as much. Looks like my target this time is one of the toys our friend decided to spread around for fun.
Is that one of the names of import from the last game? I can't remember. Treasure! Don't mind if I do.
doors locked. Huh? I've written an artifact. Let's see where Bear past all but the most obvious lies off is complete truth. Really not the kind of thing that shaggy weapons dealer should have in his possession.
Yeah, how else is it gonna go?
What's going on here? What happened to the two who were on guard here? They were fast asleep. Seems like whoever did use a dart or spray of some kind. I think we're doing someone in the same business as us. We better keep it locked inside here until the party's over. You give our report to Master Comrade afterward. I think the odds are that he's not acting alone. Judged by security camera footage, I don't think it's that high. That said, there's a definite chance he's just got some forward back and just hasn't acted yet. I said well of marking only if I could guess such point being. Wouldn't want to let anyone slip through our sights. Just laugh at us? Something funny? Oh no. I just thought I should probably apologize for underestimating you. I'm really well for some trade you could drop house, but maybe you've got something or more going to give you credit for. You got guts, I'll give you that. I've got no idea how you came to be here. You should know that Master Comrade is not a merciful man. Don't think you're gonna get out of this in one piece. You're in such a world of pain, you'll wish you'd kill yourself if you had the chance. Well, doesn't that sound like a fun time? Hell if you, I've got my next date lined up, so I won't be able to take you up on that. Help! Oh yeah, I probably should have said this earlier. You really might want to step back from that door, like... What just happened? No way. The door is lined to withstand a direct hit from normal cannon. Boy, you guys have no idea how hard it is to hold back with that one. I'm not a huge fan of using it, but I mean, it didn't give me much choice. This is a joke, right? Priest? Yep, I'm legit and everything too. If you're interested in making any confessions, I'd be happy to listen to him. Extra sheet is the limited time offered. And you guys have a lot to confess. Unending, you're true, let's do this. Aww. I was hoping more of a what, you charge people kind of reaction. Oh well, guess I don't mind cutting to the chase this time. Come get some.
It's been a while. And the systems are exactly as I remember. Oh yeah, I forgot that it was casting time. That's an Uzi. What have they done to the setting when I wasn't looking? Kevin! Not bad.
Take this! All right, what's next?
Level 90. Yeah, no, that checks out. Loose their pockets.
He's a real knight! I had rumors about them, but damn.
I'm curious as I am.
I'm probably better off not asking about what kind of rumors you heard. Don't worry though, I'm on your client. So go ahead and have a nice long nap on the floor, okay? I'll still have to see tomorrow. What kind of monster? Okay, I gotta let you. Now to get back to the party and wrap this show up. Sucks to have to go without taking that lady up on her offer though. She was looking pretty darn fine. It's obvious her husband wasn't giving her enough squeeze. Then again, I shouldn't go playing with fire too much, huh?
No, Kevin! I guess we leave it this way. vastly powerful I am compared to you. I'm just
Take
gonna
this!
shoot you. It's foolish of me to hope they would have revised the battle system since then, but I mean, it's not like it's a bad system.
Take this! Ha! Ha! Eat hot arrows!
I would have honestly thought I'd done a lot more.
Take this! Ha! Ha! Eat hot arrows! Still a ways to go.
Oh, shut up. They're level 90. How much further do you have to... Oh, great. Attack dogs. It's got to pluck up the eggs. So... I love the lag spike that accompanies it, you know? No matter.
Take this!
Booger.
Take this! Still a ways to go.
Ah, of course, because it's a monster dress candy. What's going on here? We're not gonna crash, are we? We won't fall out of the army, wish you, Mr. Tanya.
Well, got Mrs. Chancellor away. Something familiar about him. Oh well, I hope this thing
Gotta make them references.
Let's end this.
Every time the game freezes like that, I just get so panicked. Also, how did I not kill them? What?
Let's end this.
Guess it just fell short.
Still a ways to go.
Oh boy, insulating tape, my favorite. Yeah, I guess you can unlock their doors. Very sensible. Damn. Okay. Still efficient. Let's do. cannon power level. I like it.
Take this! Ha! Ha!
And shooting the crossbow. Such a silly notion, yeah, it makes it look so good.
Let's end this!
You'll die.
Still a ways to go.
I was like, what's the input? Uh-oh. Don't crash on me now. Oh, bruh. Oh, great. How's in the sky? What do you mean 4.2? Isn't that like the entire game? Coding overload? What do you mean encoding overload? Well, it is a single game. So it is just upside down intro. I would generously call it an artistic choice. That's 7. I'll make a hard save. I won't bother opening the ultimate menu because I know that will break stuff. What was most effective in this situation? Group ups. Let's hit them with that. Please ignore the fact I'm causing an earthquake on an airship with all the implications that has with it. CP heal? Oh boy, good. I love CP.
Let's end this.
Crowd points, I like crowd points.
Still a ways to go.
Are they going back to the party again? Sure, it's not to disguise the... Oh, good grief. There you are, and then Northern Jaegers doing it getting further.
They really are an activity core, and a pretty famous one to boot.
Well, I guess that's going rough for your country and all, but I can ask you just, you know, step aside. How dare you? What you know about the hardships endured by our people? Wouldn't allow ourselves to be shamed and defeated, not as long as we suffer.
No. Alright then, I'll come at you with all I've got.
What's going Father Kevin to Kevin Graham? What's up with that? It's just a tutorial, so just hit them with another earthquake. Like that one would be a little different. Whatever, I got some EP kill, I'm happy. That hurts.
Let's end this.
What are you running away for, little kitty? Come here.
Take this! Take this! All right, what's next?
Well, there's all this commotion. You're there to be intruder, sir. And I can't do one of that. Intruder? What do you think I have? What do you think I paid good merit high for? I don't care if he's alive or full of holes. Get rid of him.
Oh, getting me dead or alive is too much to ask of these guys.
Who the hell are you? Priest, no!
Yeah, I figured some of this in your possession. You at least heard of us.
How dare you? The fact is mine!
Wrong answer. This belongs to the goddess and needs to be rightfully returned to her. It's not something mere mortals like you should be keeping to themselves.
Killed him. Killed him, but get me back my locket now!
Oh, you just got a super shield, why not?
Herman Conrad, in accordance to the laws of the Church and in the name of Eidos, I'm placing you under arrest. You stand charged in unauthorized possession of and illegal use of an artifact. If you think you can get away with this, might be with the Church, but I'm a rightful director. You lay hand on me. Oh, don't you worry, we cleared this up with the big guys already. I'm sure you got a pretty good idea just how reckless you've been acting this thing, right? You've been causing a whole lot of trouble for a whole lot of people, you know? Guys like you have a habit of making themselves no short of enemies. You've done a stellar job of that. So just accept that your luck's run out and come quietly, okay? No! Couldn't do this easily, could you? So much for this ain't a piece of cake. Catching guys like this alive is whole. More like trying to sneak out the whole damn thing. Look right there. You pull a little stuff, just a little old maid. I don't get why you guys are so popular. That's some quick work getting all dulled up and ready to take me down. Silence! You might have had your way before, but that's not how it's gonna go this time. Just so you know, there's an entire company of us on the ship. If you have a hostage you can against us, you'll have nowhere to run.
We're all lucky boys and girls stay, huh?
What are you talking about?
This idiot here had been branded a heretic. I've had to hunt each and every one of you down to the last member.
Oh, what's up this guy? Oh, don't let it get to you. Keep up the good work for your homeland or whatever. Don't go giving us any reasons to let you in the process.
Dynamic exit. Woo! That is some excellent. Ouch. What did I miss? Will it go around the second time? Impossible. There's monsters for monsters. That was quite a splendid show. But our tale is only just beginning, Kevin Graham. Well, guy voice.
It was just beginning. Sure, I know, just a week.
Wow. Took us 2 hours in the crash, but we... Oh, here we are, cry. See, okay, no, I'm not actually going crazy. These are legitimately upside down. What the hell? How does this happen? I just like set the settings default high. I'm confused. Seriously, why? Why are you like this? I need to look this up. Okay, hold on. You guys watch this. I've got to look up. Trails in the Sky Third upside down cutscenes. Please tell me I'm
Hi, how are you?
Hi Sparky, we're having problems. Having a working shoe thing, Charles. Yeah, But you... Come on, come on. It's amazing how this is like... How am I the only person who has this? I looked it up, and some of them say that the... I'm looking up and it's like, people are saying the cutscenes aren't playing for them. My cutscenes are playing just fine. They're just all upside down. Again, I've changed nothing about the settings. I just clicked high, increased the resolution, and that was it. This is so embarrassing. This is so upsetting. Why do they like this? Tech insurance, Growl to operate the special ops airship. Oh, it's been... Why is it so funny when you go from the rustic settings to the high-tech ones in this game? Like, we spent an hour reading a book in a library and now here we are with a computer terminal. Not that I dislike it. Ripperoni, your display is too strong, obviously. It's not even that strong. It's not even that good. Congratulations on completing your operation, sir. My thoughts exactly. That seemed to be a rather easy one for you in the end, too. Compared to what they usually like, it was. If I had a bit more time, I could have enjoyed some private time with a real gem of woman, too. I'll have to settle for cry myself to sleep tonight. Not this. Unless you want another earful from the commander, you might want to stop taking work more seriously. I know. Lighten up a little, yeah? So I'm not going to how your hard-headed types end up beside a slagger like me. This may come as a shock, but you are a Dominion, you know. Can't very well have you acting alone without any form of backup. Once you're here and the ship is under your command, then Slacker or not, we're here too. Even then, you've got a lot of squires in your service than you should have. Maybe you should take this chance to gather up a few more? I think I'm gonna have to pass. That'll just make it even harder for me to work on my own. I thought you'd prefer if you'd actually trust us to help you a little more, sir. I mean, all we could do in that salt pail operation was transport the thing.
Say that as if transporting it isn't a huge responsibility in itself. Well, the last thing we wanted was him catching wind of it and becoming wary of us. Something wrong? Oh, nothing. Anyway, as per the original plan, we need to get ourselves back to Arteria ASAP. We should be able to reach there by noon tomorrow, or day now, I guess. Love it. Well, where's it from? Arteria, apparently. It's a call from Commander Samate. Oh, you are kidding me! A call for her right after a mission is always bad, bad sign. Let's get this over with, put her through. Alright. Evening, Kevin. It sounds like you did well. Fill me in on the details. Yeah, basically went off without issue. The artifact is the Fool's Locket. There was not a society involvement, but it looks like the cutting of ties with him a long time ago. I see. As I thought then. Good work all around. I'd say you deserve a well-earned rest, but unfortunately I can't grant you one right now. Here we go. Something the matter? Oh, I'm just Andy, please continue. Well then, as much as I hate to spring this on you immediately after finishing one mission, I've got something I'd like you to do for me. For an heretic, I assume? Not this time. All I want you to do is pick something up. The object in question is currently being held under Ransel Cathedral. Ransel? You think this object may be somehow related to the Oriole? It's a distinct possibility. Can I count on you to handle this? Alright. That said, before you go on artifact in the ship needs transporting back, so I'll let the crew here take that to Arteria. I'll handle going to the library on my own. That's fine with me. Oh, incidentally, you won't actually be alone. I dispatched a rookie squire to aid you. I'll be serving you from now on, so do play nice, won't you? Wait a minute. Wait just 1 minute! You can't just spring a rookie on me out of nowhere like this! Meetings ordained by the goddess always come suddenly and unannounced. Don't worry though. They won't be a burden. The abilities they demonstrated during training were truly something special. Well, I'll be praying for your success. Oh. Congratulations on the new recruit? We were only just saying you could do with more squires serving you. And I was so not down! I can't believe this. She never changes, I swear. All the people reading that book had any idea where the hellion she is in real life. Oh, Cornelia? I've always wondered whether publishing it was really such a good idea, to be honest. It's a complete advertisement saying we exist in the world. If anything, I'd say a book that while just serves to make people less likely to believe we really exist. And the heroine died in it, which obviously is a big fat lie. That actually matter. You know, she's the kind of woman who could possibly take a bullet in the head and ask for a cigarette first thing. I think we should probably refrain from commenting here. Anyway, you guys heard her. I'm gonna leave taking care of everything else relating to our mission, you guys. Just follow the money trail. May still be hidden accounts we don't know about. Understood, sir. What are you doing from here? We need to return to Arteria, obviously, but we can drop you off somewhere. You can maybe down in the old state we passed on the way here. Probably near a town that's international flights going out of it, I guess. Got it. Oh, looks like the sun started coming. I knew spending an hour reading that book would be a good investment of my time. Prologue, the Growl Splitter. Yes, don't even worry about the FPS. This thing is legitimately running at 95% CPU. I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it. Same day, afternoon. Aspects are always ironically always worth it by the crew. Discuss Miss Weston's Maria roughly punch yourself a little. Literal. Sometimes I wonder what my neighbors think of me. Like making sounds like that. Aw, I'm outside now. I'm busy migrating.
Looks like they can't get up with the ship though. Guess not every bird can be as fast as Zeke. They were just the cutest. Look at it. I know you. It really is you. Long time no see, Dorothy. I sure wasn't expecting to run you here. Funny coincidence, huh? It really is. It's so good to see you again, too.
You don't remember my name, do you?
Don't be silly, of course I do. It's, oh, remember, it's Oniogram.
But of course, how lucky I have been named after such a multi-purpose plant. That's not even a name, Dorothy! You really did forget, didn't you? And you somehow managed to remember my last name like it was nothing.
I was just being silly. A couple of days ago, I had this amazing onion hot pot over in Eastern Court in Carbon. I still got onions on the brain. I couldn't believe a hot pot with just onions in it could taste that good, but I swear it did. It was so comforting and sweet. That's how I remember to end up saying onion instead of your name.
Oh, whatever. Let me insist you haven't forgotten. What is my name then?
I do insist. I never forget. It's lovely to see you again, Jasmine.
But of course, I'm looking to be named after such a freaking plant. That might be an actual name this time, but it's a woman's name!
Skin in this game like Falcon, the section of the family strokes from face. How could I possibly when everyone's been telling me to? Oh, I see. Better catch up. You're a follow-up investigation like trouble that happened earlier in the year.
That's about the gist, yeah? Come think of it. How do you end up in an international line like this? They were in Eastern Quarter, right? You're there to write about it for the liberal news?
Yep. Oh, now you'll actually let me go on my own this time too.
Wow, that was daring of him. I'm not sure I want to let you handle traveling aboard for at home. Then again, none of us taking our position of responsibility, people can probably grow.
Oh, I'm doing plenty of that. I mean, I wasn't sure what I'd do when I ended up in Calvin instead of Bose Market, but I managed just fine.
Wait a second. Noel told you to go to Bose, not Calvin?
He sure did. And then I got on the airship, fell asleep. Before I knew it, I was just living out the Calvin's capital. Weird, huh?
Like you got on the wrong airship to me. Let my brain catch up. So you were in the Republic for little days when you weren't even supposed to be there at all?
Did you even have enough to manage your Kaido's help us a passport? Well, fortunately, there was someone from the Liberia embassy at the airport who issued me a temporary passport, so that was okay. And then tons of people were really nice to me and helped me while I was there. Not all the dirt girl could ask for.
I don't know where to start. Now I must be worried sick about you, huh?
You think? He didn't sound so hard when I called yesterday to say I'd be coming back to the office today. I kept telling him there's all the smoking bad for him, but he never listens.
I don't think he can pin the crime of tobacco this time.
Thank you all for taking this journey aboard the Gretna today. We'll be arriving at our terminal, Princeton City, in roughly 30 minutes. We ask that you take this chance to check that you have all your belongings with you, and to return to your seats before we begin our landing. Until then, please enjoy the remainder of your flight.
Sounds like we're almost there. I'm gonna have to walk around the ship to kill some time for the last half hour. How about you?
I'm not sure. So I might as well go and snap some more photos. How often I get to take an international liner like this?
Sounds like a plan. See you later then.
Later! Oh, she is so wonderful. That was... I like this. Not touching on this, we're going to Elbroville after Grand Castle, and that is final. I don't believe it actually considering just going around fishing of all things. Could you imagine fishing?
I'm not very good with heights. It's not phobia level or anything, I'm just really not very good with them.
Hey, Simon!
That was one amazing business discussion. I never thought I'd see the day when Murano would get a hand on one, but it just happened. I was full of surprises.
Barbara, really had to put up a good fight for someone so young. Not with excellent information dealer working with me too. Next time we do business, it's going to be a 6-4 deal in my favour. No, scratch that, 7-3. I used to be a sailor back in the day, but now I always use airships to get around. Way faster than boats for one thing. Not like awful buses. I've not been sore butt after a long journey either. I can look outside. Can I? No, you can't. Please sit down like a good girl. I'm almost there now anyway. Just be quiet. Ah yes, fishing last weekly. What do you mean? What do you mean? Hi, Anand. We're finally back home in Liberal. What I mean is, time to start thinking about getting a house for ourselves. What kind of house would you like? The two of us have spent the past half a year traveling all around the continent. I can have wished for a better honeymoon. I'm so glad I choose to spend my life with. My wife went back to her family's home. I mean, I'm as aware as anyone that I've been so busy with work lately I hadn't able to spend time with her, but I didn't know it was going to come to this. I would have sat down. How could you aiming at a mouse, by the way? That's a vaguely suspicious question. I'd like to think I'm decent. Then you get yourself water too. And scream with a few more like you should. Just the and fashion's ice. The place that I can't take there. I'm gonna really have to make most of it. The cleaning staff of these airships do a splendid job, don't they? I'm a role model for the rest of the service industry. My grandchild and grandson. Well, nothing in 3 years now. I'm really worried about what's happening there. Alright now, I don't have to go on my team anyway. It's not fair. Pressure looks perfectly well. Oh, hi, Ymir! Oh man, it's really like I'm meeting old friends, you know? 16, you know? I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want without busting that. Of course I can expect to find you here.
I don't even know what I want to be as a child. It's something you normally tell complete strange cameras in the hands, you know.
Come on, Team Mister, you can't distract me. This is your huge report here, so please answer my question.
Making good use of those referred privileges.
Range.
What should I tell?
Oh, I know. I've been this roof 3 years now. I'm doing, man. What's that person at the top? Is it just like somewhere? Yes, I'm almost in Liberal. How'd it come, you ask? Because the last spot the ancient dragon was sighted. There's no information where it went after it showed up here. If anyone's trying to pursue it, this is the best place for me to come. Disneyland, I need to go and talk to Lyndon see if he knows anything. What do you mean items on my person? Girl, whenever I open a menu in this game, it breaks. How is it that Trails 1 and 2 worked so fine? Is it because of Proton? Am I gonna have to keep blaming Linux? There's a chance this game gets remade fully, becomes DLC with the SC remake this year, or just skip the Crossbow remake, and I'm scared. I think that DLC would be good. That would be nice. Just why? This is Mansion announcement. Soon you're arriving in Gramsel City, the terminus of this liner. We suggest that all passengers return to their seats as soon as possible. The airship may be unsteady during landing. This game like Facebook's DLC, but it really helped out compared to that. Who knows? Ah, so lovely to be back here again. The Republic is a wonderful place too. You can't beat the air here in Level.
You wouldn't believe the little stuff happening here. Happy you're looking at Grants now either. It's all completely back to normal. People here sure are strong for usually such a peaceful country.
Well, it's a country ruled by a queen. Everyone knows that women are tough in the face of adversity.
I'm not sure whether you're a perfect example of that or the opposite. Right about the air here though, it is nice. Nostalgic almost.
Makes me a little homesick. Home's in Algeria, right? A place with the really big churches and stuff?
Nah, I'm not actually from Algeria. Not many people are. It's actually pretty darn small, like smaller than most states around the continent. But a high seat the 17 churches, a lot of pilgrims and clergymen gather there, but few are actually born there.
Oh, really? Where are you from then?
Dorothy!
Niall, I'm home. Did you miss me?
Did I miss you? Of course I miss you! What an idle name you've been doing! I sent you to Bose! How'd you end up in Covered? You were definitely on the westbound liner, I'm sure of it!
Really don't know. Oh, wait, I might actually know.
Well then, spit it out.
Then I'm a sleepwalker. After I got on the right airship, I fell asleep and sleepwalked right onto one. I think that all of this could turn out to be part of some elaborate murder plot. Wowie! All of a sudden I feel like I walked right into a mystery novel.
Sleepwalkers don't change airships, you idiot! I'm all out of breath now.
Are you alright? I really do think you should cut down your smoking. You're not as young as you used to be, you know. Alright, your 30th birthday was last Friday too, wasn't it? Happy birthday! I brought a cake over in Calvin and had a big celebration for it too.
Can you remember useless stuff like that and not things that actually matter? You were just looking for an excuse to eat cake all by yourself, weren't you?
You should have seen it, Niall. Made with Eastern matcha is unlike any cake I'd ever seen. That perfect blend of sweetness and bitterness was just sublime. I took lots and lots of cute pictures of it, so I'll show you them all later.
You're probably pictures of a cake? At least bring back a souvenir! Man, I just felt like they could go in business comedy to you and actually make money off it. Even more of a crack up now. Wait a second. Nice to see you again, Niall. You're looking the same old, same old. Maybe you're not so happy about that. What are you doing here? Please tell me she didn't end up going to Altair and Course Jump there too. Your wish is my command. We just ran into one another on the airship by total coincidence, that's all. Oh, God. You had me worried for a minute. I was scared stiff she'd gone and smashed some super expensive stained glass windows in the cathedral or who knows what. I am so sorry for what you had to put up with.
It's too much of a worry, Ward.
That is. Well, it's good to see you again, Father. I'll make sure the liberal. Something else happened there? Well, just a bit of work-related business I gotta take care of. Not part of any major investigations. Don't go getting hopes up. Nothing major is gonna happen. I'll be the judge of that. Anyway, so where are you staying for the time being? Grants Cathedral? I'll drop by and say hi sometime and get a chat. Go for it. In the meantime, I'm dragging your butt right back to the office authority! You're gonna tell us all about what the hell you've been doing these past 2 weeks.
I can't remember what his voice was. You betcha! I sent photos of every meal I had while I was in Calvert. Though I'm sure if we develop them, I'll be able to remember everything.
I'm not talking about your gourmet report. Let's do together really simple. And now I'm back here. Thinking about it, I wonder what the others here are doing. I know Estelle and Yasha are bored all the moment. But I have no idea what the others are up to. Leave photograph? Lieutenant Colonel Sid! It's good to see you again. I'm pleased to see you've been keeping well since we last met at that banquet. Same to you, sir. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting you to be the army representative who came to meet me, though. Happy to be Julia. It may have been, but she's currently out on another mission, so unfortunately I have to make do with me. I didn't have anything better to do, so I came in her place. There's no need to be so modest. Oh, Bert told me you were going to be promoted full-on colonel soon, aren't you? I shouldn't be surprised to hear people have such good information at work, though I still am. Still, I'm afraid I feel the position is too much responsibility. Brigadier General Bright still has plenty of work left in him, too. I wouldn't want to take any of it. Forecast is still getting work to the bone, huh? Anyway, getting out of business. Is in Grant's Cathedral, right? Correct. Being kept underneath it to be more specific, although I imagine you're already aware of that man. A head layman like myself can't even enter it unless. Pretty much, it's a special place. I'll fill in the details and get there. Right then. Well, I might as well head there right away. I don't know when you should meet in the cathedral. Huh? No. Let's just say someone's been assisting with. They'll be appraising the details of what you're doing with you.
Nostalgia. I know that place. I've been there. I know that place. Here we are. Aw, I come walk around talking to every single NPC. What is this? Railroading, bad game, worst entry in the series.
Oh, there you are. It's good to see you again, Archbishop. You look well. Huh? You must be...
Nothing. I wasn't expecting you to be quite this young. How old are you?
Though? 22, but...
That's a lot younger than I expected. I thought officers are really so short-sighted that they're handing out the most important post to kids. I can't blame you for assuming a 5th Dominion would look more like a veteran, can you? The surprise written all over your face. I'm in your position, so a much better poker face than that. Maybe you need to redo your training from scratch? Or are you just acting on it? Howdy.
Professor Russell, please. He isn't here for you to try to pick a fight with him. Please try and be a little less deliberately provocative.
Hell. Hell no. Oh, I like her. I like her a lot already. You have to steal the thing we went through. So much effort to bring up, and you want me to play nice? And kindly don't call me that ever again. I don't want to be addressed in the same way as that old coot.
Of course. Wait, Russell? Then are you...
I suppose I should introduce myself. I'm Annika Russell. I'm sure it's not a name you're going to be forgetting anytime soon. Wait! No! No way! Somebody hold me.
Bill, I sure didn't expect to run into little Tita's mother here. I heard you and your husband both living abroad. We'll be back.
What do you think? I down here, there was nobody else staying out of the country any longer than I had to. Though with how remote the region we were in is, it was all over by the time word reached us. Had we found out sooner, I wouldn't have let that maniac pull off the stuff he did. That's all like too happy with the professor nowadays, huh? Talk about an understatement! That whack job actually took my little girl to that floating city with him. I get that he's soft towards her, but that's no excuse for exposing her to danger. That's fair. As if that isn't enough, he let that redheaded scumbag near her too. That other cretin isn't fit to be within 15 yards of my darling Caesar, never mind actually getting friendly with her. So, you don't like Agate, huh? Don't you speak his filthy name in front of me ever again. Oh, when I'm finished with him, you'll wish he'd never been born. He might survive that last onslaught, but we'll see how he fares against even more powerful units, won't we? I get the feeling this is a matter we're better off not prying into. I feel the same, so I don't know any more about that than you do. Evidently, the Professor Russell you're more familiar with is currently vacationing abroad. As such, she's been assisting with us in this case. Oh, I see. Are you two listening to me? Sorry, of course. Oh, whatever. He scares me to this day, to be honest. Yeah, no, I believe it. The staircase sure is long, though. How much farther do we have to go?
Not much, as far as I know. Yep, there we go.
Conveniently long staircase.
Dead end?
I hope you got a good explanation for this.
I do. This isn't a dead end, but to go any further, I'm gonna need you to take a rituals.
Well, this certainly took a turn for the strange. This is an example of Church's famous thaumaturgy.
Something like that, yes. Specifically, I would like you to undertake a form of suggestion. I'm not sure I follow.
Well, does a promise not to tell anyone what we see here, right?
That's a little extreme, so no. The Cardinal is obviously going to need to report what happened here to his spirits, for one thing. All I want you to promise is you won't tell anyone who you aren't certain you can trust. I don't need you to say it, I just need you to think and believe it.
Wait a bit, alright? If that's what you want us to do, so be it.
Feel the same way. We deliberately repeat it in our minds. You don't need to do that. It should just come naturally to you. Right, here goes. In the name of she who dwells about, do I hold this consecrated scepter. Face golden glow, conscience silver glow. By your opposing natures, build him the path that leads to your sacrament.
What?
Ah, the door here. Thank you both for your assistance. I can see you were true to your word.
Ah, I see. If you just said it but didn't really mean it, we wouldn't be able to see anything, right?
It's hard to believe what just happened. Imagine it being uncouth of me to ask how all this works.
Yeah, I'd rather you didn't.
Anyway, come on in.
They got water reflections down here. Wow.
We'll be cheers had no idea such a place lay hidden beneath Russell. Well, it's not exactly something publicized. It's been in accordance to the agreements between the church and royal family. It has but one purpose: to suppress the power of ancient artifacts and keep their influence in check.
See.
Its importance to aggressors is quite clear then. I'd assume there are similar ones in places other than Liberal, right? Well, I won't deny it. Anyway, we'll call this place a primal ground.
Now that's a deep name, I've heard one. Is the original ground the others are based on an arterial? I'll take that as a yes.
Oh, I'm not confirming anything. I was just thinking about how much you take out the other Professor Russell's soul.
I'd like you not to associate me with him. He might trump me a little in the theoretical side of things. When it comes to the practical side of all science, I could beat him in my sleep. And I was the one who designed the fundamental systems of the Keeple and the Arcell, you know.
Really? Nice. Oh, I think we're gonna have a topic here.
I wish you mentioned let me do cool stuff IRL. It does, but you need to be a little bit annoying about it.
The object in question, right? Correct. It was pulled up 3 days ago from the area where the Libra Ark sank, and believed it to be an artifact.
3 days prior, roughly at the center of Lyra Lake. Hey, I was there.
Damn. Sun's going down already, huh? This spot turns out to be a bust, we'll have to call it quits for today. We can only hope. Professor Russell is certain this is the area we should be looking? Yep. If she says it's here. Unfortunately, as you know, Lyra Lake's about as deep as it can get. Depending on how small the thing we're looking for is, actually finding it could be still a task and a half. Is it likely to be small, though? Well, readings suggest we're dealing with quite a lot of difficulty.
I wouldn't judge its size based off those.
Ah, Professor. Hey there, kiddo. You're just getting us a new estimated location?
Just about. It'd be real swell if you knocked off with a kiddo, though. I'm not sure it's the most appropriate way to address a married woman, much less one who's already popped out a child.
Sorry, but old hats die hard, you know? Hard to make up a switch when I'm calling you since that's since you were about knee high.
I'll let you off this time. Back to work. Just get subordinates stand down for the time being, Colonel.
Is this spoken? You have to calculate exactly what the object is?
It will take an art, yes. Judging by the readings, what we're trying to pull up isn't all that big either. Probably about 50 reach, maybe even less.
Serious? Well, be dealing with a real monster, not something the size of a bone.
Huh? Hold on, where's the cat translation guide? I've forgotten it already. Well, the good news, who are you? But that's probably like, what are you talking about?
Well, it does turn out to be an artifact. This could get problematic.
Unfortunately, the church isn't going to want to let us keep it, that's for sure. I really cannot stand them. No matter how hard you get your hands on something, the second it turns out to be an artifact, they swoop in like it's their God is given right to have it. It ticks me off.
Easy there, we don't know for sure that it's even an artifact yet. Regardless, I'll pass on the message to my subordinates right away. I'll leave the rest to you, Gustav. You got it. Let's see what we're doing with, yeah?
The crane game. Ah, is this that fishing minigame I've heard so much about? Okay, that's the spot. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Beginning the salvage operation.
Don't you dare. Don't you? Okay, one more time. And if it doesn't work, look at this little guy. I hate voicing. What do you mean lost all this. Oh my god, bruh. Ay, ay, ay. Didn't give me an opportunity to stop and save. Hold on, I'm actually just gonna set the... Hold on, can I set on the turbo? I can't remember how to set my turbo on this bloody thing. I just want to have a button mash A for me. Whatever. Check my apps. Oh no wait, I can just hold down A and skip it. That's awesome. Let's do that instead. Dolly, I need this. My girl's body is kinda non-existent. Texted someone about it and they replied, more like fails in the sky. Ooh. How many analytics can I get? Oh, now you've got no choice. Why do I associate with these wretches? Why does fate want to hide this game from the world? There's the machinations of Eidos trying to save us. Oh, maybe I could just use a hairband. Here we are, descending. Is there turbo mode on the Linux version? There's... No? I saw this isn't a Linux version. This is a Windows version run through Steam's Proton, which allows us to run video games as for a window. And second of all, I'm using a Switch controller, which has a turbo button, but I don't know how to make it work, so usually it just works by feel. This time we're just holding down the A button and it's going through the dialogue as quickly as possible. Just like sending death robots to kill Agony. So funny. A boy associating with my daughter? Kill him. Hey, something wrong with my headphones or is that like my hair? Oh god, what's going on? Ah! Clutching my head like I'm experiencing a psychic attack. My finger's starting to get a little sore, but whatever. The alt key on the keyboard and right trigger that are a switch on them. I'm not sure, I'm not seeing anything. Get it. Get it again. Oh no, wait, it's the... So it's still key on my keyboard, but I can't... Oh no, it is. Oh, we got our speed up button. Awesome. On that ANZR. So it doesn't really feel that fast. It feels like maybe 1.5 times speed more than like the wacky 2 or 3 times speed we used to have. They've nerfed us. They nerfed my mate in heaven. fishing. Okay, that's the spot. Go on ahead. Okay. OBS crash. Is it like the CPU is spiking or something? And it's causing the game to crash and OBS to crash?